So hi again everyone, and thank you for attending our webinar. So today I'm going to play the role of a translator, a reviser, and a DTPer in order to show you the different features they're going to use and how they can interact in real time with each other. So normally you should be able to see my screen now. So I am here connected as a project manager on my Wordbee platform, and you can see that I've created a project. So if I show you the project settings page, you'll see that I've created a workflow with a translation followed by a revision and a DTP job. Okay, I've already assigned all these 3 jobs to suppliers. Okay, and the workflow has not started since the first job, which is translation, is not started by my supplier. Okay, should just note that for some companies, the DTP task is an integral part of the reviser role, but should just know that it is possible to create a separate job for it, a separate task in the workflow. All right, so what I propose you to do is to connect as the translator. Just received an email notification to start the translation part, and we will focus on the features that the translator will need. So I am now connected as my translator. If I reach the Jobs tab, I can see my translation. Okay, it's a translation from English into French. So I just first need to accept it. And click Translate to open the translation interface. Okay, so this is what my translator can see. It immediately sees that there are multiple pre-translations in the document. So what you can use is here display. You have multiple filters, and here you can filter all the pre-translations exact and all the pre-translations fuzzy. So let's see how many pre-translation exact I have for my document. All these pre-translations exact, so it corresponds to 100% matches. I can see that it comes from this resource. Okay, and if I enter a new segment, the translation finder refreshes. I can clear filter and also filter all my fuzzy pre-translations. Okay, using filters, I can immediately see that there are multiple pre-translations in my document, and I can see that there are no in-context matches, just 100% and fuzzy matches from the memories. Right, one of the first things that a translator will do so is to preview the source text. So you can do this by clicking on Preview in the document viewer and select Source. Since it is a Word document I am translating, I can preview this document in my browser. Okay, you can preview MS Office documents directly in your browser, and also all web pages, HTML content, for instance. So this is my source document. You can see it is made of a logo, the titles have specific formatting, etc. So now I can get back to my translation interface, and I can start translating. Okay, so when I enter a segment, I can always see the different hits with the memories in the translation finder panel. And here, since I'm not going to translate all the document, I'm going to use machine translation at the segment level to translate. Okay, I'm just going to translate a few segments. and I paste this translation in the target segment. Now to paste the different tags here, the different formatting markups for this paragraph. You have for each segment a segment menu. You can click on it and select copy source inline tags to target. Okay, this way I have all the tags and I simply have to drag and drop them at the good place. If by error I remove a tag, let's say that by error I remove this tag, I can always drag and drop it from the source segment. Okay, and here I have formatting markups because inside this paragraph I have different formattings. So if I open my preview, I can see that for this paragraph I have 2 words in bold. Okay, so 2 different formattings for the same paragraph. That's why I have tags. If it's the same formatting for a whole paragraph, then you'll never have tags in the translation interface. Right, so you place them well, and then I'm going to translate this segment. So to collaborate with the reviser, okay, let's say that, well, let's take the example of this segment. I'm going to translate it. Okay, and here I do not want to translate Erlex and IATE. I do this on purpose. Okay, so I can leave a comment to my reviser to tell him that this is normal. Okay, as a translator, I've done it on purpose. So I can click on the bubble next to the segment. Okay, it will open the comments and discussion panel. And here I can write, I have translated Erlex and IATE on purpose. And I click OK. So that when the reviser will start his job, he'll be able to filter per commented segment, and he will immediately see all my remarks. Okay. Let me just translate a few more segments so that I can mark my job as completed. Maybe just this one more. Machine translation, okay. So now a new feature that the translator is going to use is the spell check. So you have to activate it in 2 times. So first you select a dictionary, here the French one, and then you click on ABC. So I really advise the translators to activate the spell checker when they have done the translation. Okay, when they have translated all the segments, and you click on ABC. Okay, all misspelled word will appear in red. So what you can do, if it's a proper noun, for instance, or a brand name, like here, you can simply click on the word and add it to the dictionary, so that the next time this word appears, the system knows that it is not a misspelled word. Same thing for this. Okay, if you have words that you want to add to the dictionary, it's simple. You select the dictionary, click on About next to it. You can add your editions as shared editions so that all the translators and revisers working on your platform, they will be able to benefit from your additions. Okay, so 1 word per line. And you can click on save. Okay, another very important feature is the QA check. All right, so it means that the project manager of the Wordbee platform has already created a QA profile, and as a translator, you'll be able to use it. You can activate it directly from the QA panel here. Click View QA Results and click New. Here the profile that the project manager has created will appear. Okay, so you don't have to do anything, simply have to click OK to launch the QA, and all the different errors will be listed in the QA panel. And you can always see the nature of the error. Sorry. So here trailing spaces differ between source and translation. So maybe they don't correspond to errors, okay? It can be simple information. All right. Well, actually, I've not used the right profile. I'm sorry. Because you can create multiple profiles, and here I've not selected the good one. Okay, good. Sorry about that. So again, I can see the nature of the errors in the QA panel. Okay, spaces, leading, trailing, a problem of spell check, the parliament, it's still in English, spaces before punctuation, etc. And when I click, I can see more information. All right, and if I need to directly go to the segment, like here I want to go to segment 10, I just have to click on this double arrow here, and I automatically enter the segment. You've noticed that Wordbee has notified errors by placing red bookmarks. Okay, next to the segments for which there are errors. So the idea is that you have to review all the errors, and when you have corrected them, you can simply remove the bookmark. Okay, the idea is that at the end there are no errors left. And again, it's possible that all the errors listed do not correspond to errors. Okay, so it's no problem. If you think that the system has flagged an error and it's not an error, you can leave a comment also to the reviser, etc. When there are no errors left, well, let me remove all the bookmarks. You can mark the translation as completed. So set status. Well, here the system reminds you that there are still 5 translations missing. So yes, close it and pass on so that the revision can start. And now I'm going to connect as the reviser. Okay, so here as translator, you can see that all the different segments are locked. Okay, my job is now closed. So I'm going to connect as my reviser. So see here, she's just received the job. So here is the same process. I have to accept the job and start it. So the role of the reviser here is to validate all the translations. Okay, and he can do this by changing the status of the segments. So the idea is that at the end, all the translations should be in green. So he has to read the translations, and if he agrees, then he places a green status. And on the contrary, if it disagrees, then he places a red status, and he can leave comments to explain why, for him, this is not a good translation. As I said, also, he can first filter all the commented segments to see all the comments that the translator has left for him. So filter, comments. Here there's just one segment, and you can see the comment immediately. Right? So when it's good, green. When it's bad, yellow. Red, sorry. Etc. So you can see that for these 1, 2, 3 segments that for which the status is in red, it means that the translator have to correct them. So what the reviser will do, well, of course, he can leave comments to explain why he has placed the status in red, and he can click Set Status and select there are problems, send back to translator. And tick the option No, keep open so that I can interact with the team. This way, well, if you select the first option, then you close your revision job. Okay, and this is not what you want to do. You want the translation job to be reopened so that the translator can correct different errors, and you want to be able to continue your job. Okay, so both will be opened. So again, you select this option and you click OK. So now the two jobs are open, and you can easily interact with the translator, and the translator can make corrections in real time. And when he will have corrected, you'll be able to change the status in green so that at the end everything is in green. And you can both close your jobs. The reviser can also run a QA check, right? Because it's possible that if he makes modifications, well, then he can launch a QA to check that there are no errors in his translation. So it's the exact same process to activate QA. He opens the QA panel, view QA results, click on New here, and click OK. And again, all the errors are listed here with the nature of the error and more information if I click on it. When the revision is finished, then the reviser can set status and select revision done on OK. And finally, the DTP job will start. Okay, it's the final step of our workflow. So before the DTP job starts, you need to make sure that the translation has been validated. It means that the reviser needs to have completely finished his job. Right. So now I'm going to connect as my DTPer. To show you how he will be able to modify the layout of the document. So you see here, DTP not started. This is our job. Well, I said that the translation needs to be validated because the job of the DTPer will be done offline, so that if he modifies a translation, it will not be taken into account in the project memory. Okay, so if he makes a modification in terms of translation, if he modifies the translation, he will have to also modify it in this editor. Okay, otherwise his modification will not be taken into account and will not be remembered in the project memory. So this is very important. So now I'm connected as a DTPer. What I will do is that I will reach the document viewer panel of the translation interface and click Files and Work. Oh no, sorry, first Preview Translation. I want to download the translation, and not preview in browser, but download file. And I will do the same for the source document, okay, so that I can compare both versions. Well, you've already seen the source document, so I'm only going to show you the translation. So the document has been translated in French. This is how it looks. So let me show you the source document. Here it is. So now the DTPer just needs to make sure that the translation, it looks well. Okay, and there, just to be sure that there are no changes, like here, maybe there are too many spaces, so you can remove some spaces. Okay, and maybe for the French translation, the titles need to be in red. Okay, so he's going to select all the titles and change the color. Almost done. One more. Okay, perfect. Now we can save the changes. And close this Word file. And now he has to upload this new Word, okay, in which he has done modifications, and submit this version as deliverable. So again, in the document viewer, click Files and Work, set deliverable. Okay, choose or drop an existing file. I just have to find my Word. Just 1 second. Okay, I have it. And click OK. So you see here success, etc. So now I can change the status to notify the project manager that I've done my job. So now we have done the whole process, and if I connect back as project manager, I will see in my project that I can download the final version. So project, So under Documents, in the French folder, in the folder of the target language, now if I download this Word, it is my final version, the deliverable version that the DTPer has modified. Okay, see, this is this version. So now I can, well, I have downloaded that, I can now send it to my client. Well, of course, for this demo, I have not well translated the document and there are still errors, but it was just to show you the different features that the different persons involved in the project will use. I hope you have questions. I am now going to open the question box. Okay, so I've received a question. How about something more complex than MS Word, like InDesign or FrameMaker? Well, the process is the same. You will have a translation followed by a revision, and then the DTPer will download the source InDesign and target InDesign and make modifications if necessary in the target document. But of course, with InDesign, for instance, it implies that the DTPer has InDesign installed on his computer to be able to open the InDesign file and make modifications in it. But it's the only difference. Do you have any further question? Received a question. Deliverable package for InDesign is links plus InDD plus fonts. How do we transfer these? Well, this is a good question. Well, I'm not really familiar with InDesign files, so I'm going to write your question down and I'll get back to you when I have an answer from our development team. I don't want to tell you wrong information. Well, do not hesitate to let me know if you have further questions. Could you refer to right to left DTP like Arabic or Asian languages? Well, as I said, for DTP, the DTPer is going to download the target documents, the translated documents. So, yeah, if the translation is from right to left, well, this doesn't change anything for the DTPer. And I assume that the DTPer understands these languages if you have assigned him as DTPer for certain language pair. Well, if there are figures or tables in the document, I assume that the DTPer is going to refer to the source document, and he really has to make it like the source document. So if there are figures, he has to place them well. He has to make sure that the document is readable for well, let's say that the job is from French into Arabic, he has to make sure that the Arabic version is readable for an Arabic person. Well, that's the role of the DTPer, to make the document like the source one and understandable for the target audience. Well, I'm very sorry, but I'm not sure to understand the last question. How much of the conversion is handled by Wordbee? Well, basically, if you upload, let's say, an InDesign file with several images and figures, the system is going to place them like in the source document, okay, at the exact same place. If it has to be modified for the target document, then you have to let the DTPer know about that. Well, do not hesitate to let me know if my answers are not clear. You can also contact me after the webinar by email. No more questions? Well, I'm not receiving further questions, so I'm gonna thank you all for your attention and have a great evening. Have a great evening or day. Goodbye, everyone.